Hello, we're going to do a quick data analysis for the Impulse Lab. This lab data has been posted on Google Classroom if anyone needs it. So one of the first things you guys are going to do when you open this lab is you're going to see a force versus time graph and the corresponding position versus time graph for the carts that we used. You're going to need to get the initial velocity of the cart. And one of the things I was seeing people doing was taking too big of a area when you were doing that. So if you highlight this like this to get the initial velocity, you should be able to see that right over here your velocity is beginning to change, and you really don't want to use that for the initial velocity because we already have a force being applied. We want to make sure that we are only looking at the velocity right before the force is applied, which means this little area right here. My hand is definitely not on it, and the elastic band hasn't started applying a force yet. And so if we highlight right down here, and then we get our line of best fit by clicking up here, you can see that I get a line of best fit, or a slope of about 3.39, I'm going to estimate that at. And that's going to be my initial velocity for this cart. My velocity is going to go to 0 by the time it gets all the way to the bottom. There we go. The other thing you're going to want to get is the average force on this force curve. And when you're looking for that average force, you don't want to just highlight this whole area over here to get that average force, because if we do that and we go to Analyze and Statistics, it's going to give us a mean of 0.3752 or a median of 0.0059. Basically, you're choosing a whole lot of this zero force, and we don't care about the force before the elastic band was applied. All we care about is the force right here when the elastic band is pulling on the cart. So I want you to, when you're finding your average or mean force, to only use this portion of the data. And if I come, is that what I'm looking for, or did I unclick that? Let's try that again. All the way up here, Analyze, Statistics. There we go. That makes a whole lot more sense. I'm getting a mean of 1.129 newtons as my average force. So now I have an average force, and I have a initial velocity. What I need to know is the amount of time that the force is applied. So when you look at these statistics right here, it's going to give you the change in y that you get, so basically your max force, but it doesn't give you a change in x, which is your time interval from here to here. It does tell you have 48 samples, and if you guys set up your LabQuest to do 0.02 seconds per sample, you should be able to calculate that time interval pretty exactly. But if you didn't do that, the other thing you can do is you can just hover over this right here, and it will give you the time interval that you have right here. You can see that I have a time interval when I move this around. I have a time interval right here of my x being 0.752, and then if I move all the way over here, I have my x being 1.066. So I can calculate that pretty easily as you're moving this back and forth to figure out what your time interval is. So that should be everything you need to analyze your data for the Momentum Lab. Once you've done trial 1, you're going to have to do the next 3 trials. In order to change what you're looking at, you're just going to double click on the graph. You're going to unclick the force for trial 1, and you're going to scroll down, and you're going to click the force for trial 2, say OK. You can see that didn't change our position graph, so we're still going to have to click on position and say that we want to be looking for trial 2, so you're going to click that position, trial 2, position, and then you're good to go for your next data analysis. I hope this was helpful, and remember to turn in your labs on time. Bye guys.